All right, welcome back everyone to our final webinar. Hopefully you've been on this journey with us for the last 4 weeks. It's been an honor. And my name is Craig Thomas McAdams. This is Lyndsey McAdams, my wife.
Hello.
We're both clinical counselors here in New Mexico. We've been working in this field in this state for the last decade. We also teach future art therapists and counselors over at Southwestern College here in Santa Fe. And of course, as you know, Lyndsey is a professional musician and singer, and she's been kind enough to share with us tons of information over the last 4 weeks about how sound can be used in therapy, how it works with the nervous system, how it works with the brain and the body. And I'm grateful for all of that knowledge. Thank you, Lyndsey.
Thank you.
And here we are at the last one. And it's the same template here, but we'd like to hear from you as usual. Where are you located? How did you hear about this? You can type into the chat bar on Zoom. Did you see webinar 1 through 3? If so, how did practicing vagus nerve exercise number 3, the lullaby, go for you? And finally, how are you doing emotionally during this pandemic? And Lyndsey will be able to see your responses there in the chat bar. Love to talk to you.
Nothing yet. Oh, Natalie says she's viewed all the webinars. Cipriana's back. Hello. And she says it helped me relax. Oh, and then I'm not sure what the name is, but it says located in Farmington. It was wonderful to attend your first webinar and found it wonderful. Thanks.
Welcome back. And welcome back, Cipriana. And thank you, Natalie.
Miss Leedy is from Tucumcari.
Oh, wow. Welcome back, Miss Leedy. Did anybody try the vagus nerve exercise number 3, the lullaby, this past week? How did it go for you? And how are you all doing emotionally right now?
Shamika says from Clovis, and she's seen all the webinars.
Oh, welcome back, Shamika. Thanks for coming back.
Natalie says she practiced all the techniques and she feels they make a huge difference.
Wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that, Natalie.
Angie from Las Cruces said, I've seen the last webinar, will be working on the other because I really enjoyed the last technique.
Wonderful. Thank you, Angie.
And Paloma says from Portales, I've seen all the webinars.
Welcome back, Paloma. Well, we have a special treat for you today, for sure. We're going to try to make all of this tie together to give you practices to continue moving forward without us. Any more responses?
Yeah, Lyndsey just said, I'm in Clovis. I've seen all the webinars. I've really looked forward to these webinars. Thank you.
Yay.
And Cassandra says she's from Portales. I've seen all the webinars and enjoyed them. They're really helpful. So thank you, Cassandra.
Yes, thank you both. So the overview for today, webinar 4, is called The Vagus Nerve and Loving Kindness Presence, From Grief to Acceptance. As we promised, we were going to give exercises on how to cope with depression, anxiety, and grief. And you probably noticed, if you've done the guided relaxation with us during these webinars or on your own at the SoundCloud location, that they are 3 different realities leading into this final one that we're exploring today, which is the loving kindness presence, or loving presence observer. This seems to be where we are in human evolution right now. We've been given this incredible gift called consciousness. And like with a lot of tools with overwhelming capacity, we're not quite sure what to do with it yet. And so we're in the chaos of that. But we want to deliver one experience today that gives us a sense of how we could use this tool called consciousness. So we'll start with the loving kindness practice, which will be stimulating the vagus nerve in a completely different way than we've done before in the past month together. Then we will go right into the guided relaxation, and we'll check in with you how you're doing. And then we're going to review webinars 1 through 4 and try to tie everything together. What's most important to us is that this lands for you in a way in which you can use it moving forward. And so we do want to make time to interact with you all through the chat bar at the end and converse about this work, converse about what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, what's going to be helpful moving forward to keep practicing, that kind of thing. So we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to give you all a moment to either grab some headphones or some earbuds to plug in. I really want the sound to be going right into your ears because it's going to feel immersive. It's going to feel like we're right there with you. And so as we guide you through this exercise, and then in a little bit we go through the guided relaxation, I really want you to have the best experience you can with that. We use some professional mics on our end, and good quality headphones or earbuds might help that sound be delivered to you the way that it's supposed to be. So I'll give you a moment to get comfy, grab your headphones, and we will do the loving kindness practice. Vagus nerve exercise number 4. All right, so I'll count to 3. We'll take a deep breath in. We'll hold it for 5 seconds. We'll slowly exhale together. At that point, just let your eyelids fall shut and listen to the sound of my voice. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Hold. Slowly exhale. Good. Just let your breathing return to normal. Just feel your body against your seat. Just notice your body settling into your seat. I want you to go ahead and allow the face of someone who brings you joy to emerge in your mind. Visualize this person who brings you joy. See their eyes staring back into your eyes. The color of their eyes, the shape of their eyes, the shape of their face, their nose, their mouth, their hair, their ears. And this person who brings you joy is happy to see you. So they begin to crack a smile with you. See that smile. it becomes one of those big, wide smiles because they're so joyful to be in your presence. Allow yourself to see that smile. Let it affect your body, your emotions. Feel their loving presence. Let that wash over you like the beautiful New Mexico sunlight shining down on your head and wrapping itself around your whole body with comfort and warmth. And as you're seeing this person who brings you joy smile with you, something funny happens and they begin to laugh, that unique laughter that they have. I want you to see that laughter. And they're laughing harder and harder with you. It's almost as if you can hear that unique laughter. As you're with that smile and that laughter, let it deep into your body, deep into your emotions, as their loving presence wraps around you like a comfortable blanket, very warm and snuggly. Let your body sink into that feeling of loving presence through that person's smile, through that person's laughter. And in your mind, I want you to thank them for being there for you in this way. And just know that they are always available for you in this way. We'll take a deep breath on 3. On the exhale, feel free to slowly come back. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in and out. Keeping all the awarenesses you had with your eyes closed. You're just slowly adding in sight and light and a couple new friends. Welcome back. As you're noticing your body, your physical sensations, and your emotions, please share with us in the chat bar, what was the physical and emotional response to doing the loving kindness practice together? For me, I felt a lightness come over me, a joy, a little sadness.
One of our responses is feeling loved and accepted, very relaxed.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting how easy this one is if you can find the access point, a person that is connected in this way. To be able to visualize and hear the laughter, it really definitely immediately brings back this sensation.
Yeah.
There anybody else that wants to share?
What that was like for you?
Angie says, I felt sadness because I could no longer physically see the person,
Yeah.
but happy because I visualized the moment clearly.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Angie. That's quite the spectrum of emotion to ride at the same time. Thank you.
Yeah. Cipriana says, a heavy weight lifted off my shoulders. Natalie says, happiness and calmness.
Thank you, Cipriana. Thank you, Natalie.
Eric says calmness from the memories of those people and happiness too.
Exactly. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, I thought about, both you and I, Craig, have experienced years and years ago that this practice has sort of seeds from with a loving kindness meditation that Marv Belzer, a college professor of ours, would teach. And when I practice it, sometimes I really remember him saying that sometimes you can use animals, pets, if you can't think of a person, a relationship in that moment, because humans are so much more complex, that sometimes a person that you love very dearly comes with lots of complex feelings, but that an animal, a pet, is so easy to love. And sometimes to start this practice with thinking of those little beings can help to anchor that experience, since it can be a little simpler. So at first I thought of Azul, our little kitty.
I bet that was easy.
Yeah, he's so cute.
Yeah, a very clean and uncomplicated relationship.
Yeah.
Did anybody have that experience? Were they thinking of their pet or a former pet? All right, while we're waiting for more responses, I'll go ahead and quickly explain how this stimulates the vagus nerve. So up to this point, we've been using breath work and sound and self-expression, all of these things to physically stimulate the vagus nerve, consciously choose to do so, to sort of hack the nervous system to let ourselves know that we're safe and we're safe to be present with our experience. We're online. So throughout life, the vagus nerve is actually stimulated all the time in very natural, or what I'll call unconscious ways. One of those ways is when we're in the loving presence of someone that we trust and love and feel cared for by. When we're in that loving presence, the vagus nerve is being stimulated in that moment. We didn't have to think about it. We didn't have to choose it. It's just sort of naturally or unconsciously happening. We feel safe, connected. We feel able to be online and be present with our experience. And so by doing the loving kindness practice, we are accessing exactly what Eric said. We are accessing memories of times where we felt the loving presence of someone or a pet, um, that this is readily available when we practice this. Maybe even easier for some of you to use the visual memory rather than breath work, rather than the sound. That this is something that you could do every day when you're feeling relatively okay, and it'll become available in the yellow if you do it enough in the green, and it'll become available in the red when you've done it enough in the green and the yellow. So, it's very simple. You cannot do this while driving. But pretty much a lot of other situations, you could just close your eyes and visualize their smile, their laughter, stimulate that vagus nerve, and bring more focus and presence and calmness and safety to this moment that you're wanting to bring it to. I've been doing this practice, I guess it's been 13 years. Um, and originally it comes from a Buddhist blessing. May we be full of loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. And for me, the part of the practice that really stood out was the visualizing of people and animals, their loving presence again and again. And I found that this loving kindness practice kind of has its own agenda. I think, as Angie described, sometimes it will access grief for us. The wonderful thing about accessing grief from this practice is that we're combining it with the joy of our experience and a sadness and loss, and that we're able to access both at the same time. Oftentimes, both might be happening at the same time, but our mind isn't trained in a way to choose one or the other, or fight against one, or try to promote one. But in this moment, we're having the experience of what it's like to ride something that's experienced in the body, and the spectrum of emotion is normal and okay. Um, Sometimes it may bring in people. You start seeing people that you have true conflict with, unresolved conflict with. And I've had many cathartic experiences where that happens, and I'm suddenly able to see that sort of pure version of them again, maybe for the first time in years. And it can be quite a cathartic experience. So yeah, the more you do this loving kindness practice, the more you're going to notice surprises along the way. Um, just like the other practices we've done with you, it's stimulating the vagus nerve to bring presence to our experience, which could be calmness, which could be tension, could be grief, could be sadness. But over time with these practices, we are informing the nervous system, the binary thing inside of us, that the autonomic nervous system is automatically assessing whether a situation, a person is safe or dangerous. And by doing these practices over and over again, we are working that pathway of safety, letting the nervous system know that we are safe. It takes time. You know, it took time to create the pathway of danger, right? So it's going to take time to create that pathway of safety. Daily practice. You know, I suggest that you find one of the 4 exercises we did with you and really practice it as much as you can remember. The one that worked for you the best, as an access point to this vagus nerve. While I went on that long tangent, were there any more replies on how that experience was?
No replies.
Okay, great. So we are actually going to go ahead and do the guided relaxation. If you want to go ahead and get comfortable, um, maybe even lay down if you have that opportunity. And just go ahead and let your eyes fall shut. And just enjoy this sacred time that you set aside to be kind to yourself. Thank you all.
Thank you, Greg.
On 3, we're going to take a deep breath in, hold it for 5 seconds, and slowly release. We'll do this 3 to 5 times. 1, 2, 3. In, hold, slowly release. Good. Again, in, hold, slowly release. Nice. Again, in, hold, slowly release. Good. Again, in, hold, slowly release. Nice. Last one. In, hold, slowly release. Good. And just let your breathing return to normal. And follow the sound of my voice. We're going to travel 3 different realities. unconscious observer, the conscious observer, and the loving presence observer. In the first reality, the unconscious observer, it's when thoughts are just happening to you. Life is coming at you, and we're reacting. Let's just be in this first reality. Embrace it and accept it for what it is. Let the thoughts come again and again. And we're going to start to organize these thoughts very gently. We're seeing the thoughts as a train of thoughts passing through us. Each car of the train is a new thought, a new story, a new idea. Giving that thought your full attention, embracing it, and letting it pass through. And the next car on the train arrives, giving this new thought attention, embracing it, and letting it pass through. Again and again, giving each new car, each new thought, your attention, embracing it, and letting it pass through. Starting to notice that the natural flow of this train is to be moving through at a slow pace. Just the attempt of seeing the train of thoughts is bringing us into the second reality, the conscious observer. This is the mind, the watcher, the one who's observing everything and can choose what to bring attention to and how long to bring attention to it. Let's start with the sounds that you can hear, visiting one sound at a time, hearing it, embracing it, and moving on to the next sound. Hearing it, embracing it, and moving on to the next sound or layer of sound. Bouncing around to the different sounds that you can hear, choosing what to bring attention to. And through this conscious observation, you're just naturally going to become aware of your breath, Without trying to change it too much, just notice what's happening with your breath. Whether it's going in your nose, your mouth, out of your nose, your mouth. The temperature of that breath on the inhale, the temperature of that breath on the exhale. The feeling of that breath, that wind passing against your skin. Again and again. Through this conscious observation, you're just naturally going to become aware of your body, specifically the points of contact between your body and your seat. Every inhale becoming more aware of those spots. Pressure there, the comfort there, the tingling sensations there. And every exhale, allowing the weight of your body to sink a little bit deeper into your seat. As we head into the third reality, the loving presence observer, I want to remind you of your birthright. You are not a problem. You are not a problem to be solved, fixed, or changed. There is nothing you need to do to earn love, because you are worthy of love just the way you are, however you are, whenever you are. You are not a problem. You are not a problem to be solved, fixed, or changed. There is nothing you need to do to earn love, because you are worthy of love just the way you are, however you are, whenever you are. And breathe. Solved, fixed, or changed. There is nothing you need to do to earn love, because you are worthy of love just the way you are, however you are, whenever you are. On 3, we'll take a deep breath in. On the exhale, I want you to picture someone who brings you joy. 1, 2, 3, in. see the face of someone who brings you joy. See their eyes staring back into your eyes. The shape of their eyes, the color of their eyes, the shape of their face, their nose, their mouth, their hair, their ears. And this person is very happy to see you. They begin to crack a smile. It becomes one of those big, wide smiles because they're so joyful to be in your presence. See that smile. Let it in. Let it affect your emotions, your body. And something funny happens and they begin to laugh, that unique laughter that they have. They're laughing harder and harder with you. It's almost as if you can hear that unique laughter. Being with that smile and that laughter, let it affect your emotions, your body. Breathe in their loving presence. And as you feel that loving presence, if even for a split second, I want you to imagine that your mind can be that loving presence for your body. That your mind's loving attention can bring itself to accompany your physical sensations from your toes all the way up your legs, all the way up your body to the top of your head. Letting your body know that your mind is right there with its gentle, slow, tender attention. That your mind can be a loving presence for your emotions. Relaxation to calmness to sadness. Any emotion can be accompanied by your mind's loving, kind, slow, gentle attention. May we be full of loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy in all the emotions of the body.
And just think of this as keeping all the awarenesses you had with your eyes closed. You're just slowly adding in sight and light and a couple new friends. Just let that experience wash over you. When you're ready, we'll be here to receive any feedback you want to give about that experience. How was it for you physically, emotionally? I'd love to talk about my experience while you're typing because it was very unexpected. Maybe because we were talking about grief so much and how this practice can be used for that. I just was having faces come in of loved ones who've passed away. Felt like it felt like a Dia de los Muertos trip, a journey through there, and it is such a remarkable thing to ride all the joy of their laughter and smile and loving presence, riding that alongside the grief of missing them. So yeah, that was my experience, and then thank you for listening to that. it was very unexpected and pretty cathartic.
Yeah. Thanks, Craig. Thanks for being so authentic in your sharing and just being with us here. It helps open up other people to their own experiences that may have been more vulnerable.
Yeah, it's okay to be vulnerable. We're safe. No, let us know what your experience was. It doesn't have to be grief.
Natalie says that there's a hand up, and it looks like when I look down here, Judith possibly. Judith, would you like to speak on something? If so, type in the chat window, and we'll be able to.
We can unmute Judith for a second.
Oh. Hopefully
Maybe.
let's see if that.
See if it works. Okay, Judith, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Hello. Were you wanted to be unmuted?
Not really. I accidentally pushed the raise the hand on accident, but
Wow.
I'm already on, so I'll go ahead. What I was feeling was kind of, I was in a place of peace, just tranquility, something, just my mind, I guess you can say I kind of erased my mind from everything that's going on. So I felt at peace.
I'm so happy you were able to access that kind of place, especially with everything going on right now. It's that's precious to have that kind of time.
It's beautiful. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you.
What a cool option that we didn't know existed, this unmuting somebody. That feels so much, that feels really nice to be able to hear their voice and connect. Next time, I guess we'll know. Angie says, thank you for sharing. At the beginning, I felt anxiety with the thought train of all I have to do. Very relaxing at the end. I am not sure if I went to sleep, but felt myself twitch. Yeah. Yeah, in the beginning of that, I think that's pretty normal, that sort of like the to-do list of the mind is going. So I'm happy that you were able to go somewhere else. And I think I fell a little asleep too. The table moved because I didn't realize. Shamika says sadness because I really miss my grandma, but picturing her smile and laughing put me at peace. Yeah, how funny that this is really bringing up some grief. I mean, not funny, but interesting that today there's this sort of a theme going on here that we're all sort of in. Seems to be coming. So thank you so much, Shamika.
Thank you, Shamika.
Natalie says, is there anyone else that would like to be unmuted? It's a good question. And Claudia says, I feel relaxed and peace. Relaxed and peace.
Hi, Claudia. Feel free to keep typing responses during this time. We're going to head into kind of reviewing everything we've talked about, trying to, integrate that into your life. And so we are here for any questions or comments or confusion you may have. We want to clear it up. To start that process, I just want to let you all know that all the webinars will be available at the New Mexico Network of Care website. You see the link there, or you can just Google New Mexico Network of Care and it'll come up. They'll also be available on the Supernova Counseling YouTube page. You can just YouTube Supernova Counseling and that'll come up. And then Lyndsey and I on our Facebook pages are making tools, wellness tools, experiences available on those pages all the time. You can either search Facebook for the Linden Tree and find Lyndsey McAdams and the Linden Tree, or you can search Supernova Counseling and find my counseling page. So,
and I also will be, I'm working on a CD, and we'll be releasing that within the next couple months. So I'd love to share that on the Facebook page.
The Facebook page and probably SoundCloud, or you?
Yeah, there's some on SoundCloud already, yes.
Great. Yeah, if you want to search Lyndsey McAdams on SoundCloud, you can find some incredibly relaxing and evocative music that she's already put on there. And I really look forward to you all experiencing the CD. Was there a sound there? Was somebody trying to?
No, that was me, accidentally.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can go back. So to start our review, the first webinar we did, the vagus nerve, our ally in coping with depression, anxiety, and grief. We did exercise number 1, the breath. To review, you take a full capacity breath in, you hold it for 5 seconds, and then you slowly exhale. During that webinar, Lyndsey McAdams and Dan Siegel both taught us about the brain and the body and the nervous system. We got the hand model of the brain. This is not a one-to-one, but I want to give you an angle and some analogy here to help this concept seep into the work we've been doing together the last month. But basically, you remember that this is green, online, all systems go. We're connected. We feel present with our experience.
We have access to all of the parts of our wisdom, the things we've learned, the practices we've learned. We're much more able to relate, have empathy, connect to people we love.
And then this is yellow, which is danger or perceived danger is present. Our cortisol starts to spike up, the stress hormone. We start to feel a little anxious, maybe frustrated, angry.
Yeah. Less access to that frontal lobe. The body's really trying to get to safety. So we're using all the blood is going to the limbs to be able to run. So a lot of those kind of more complex processes aren't really having attention.
Yeah. You can notice this if you have cats and you take them to the vet, they start to go into the yellow right away and then eventually into the red.
Yeah.
Offline. This is, a state of freeze, or some people call it shock. This is the body's reaction to imminent danger or perceived imminent danger. We can go there with each other all the time. You don't have to look too far into the news to see the yellow and red happening all the time in conflict in our societies. This is because we have not used this gift or been taught how to use this gift or had the experience of using this gift, which again isn't available till 25 fully. We're working towards it then. But we haven't had that experience of the nervous system knowing that it's safe to have conflict, right? So green, yellow, red, online, offline. Now this is not a one-to-one, but I want to give you an idea of another way to think of this. So you could think of this as reptile, mammal, human being, or our potential. You could think of this as the unconscious observer, the conscious observer, the loving presence observer. that we are working towards this evolution through our experience of it. And we really can't do this on our own. Believe me, I tried. If there was a way to do it on your own, I would have figured it out. But we need each other to co-regulate, or what we like to call co-soothe, from birth all the way through life. We're working on this with each other. That's why conflict is essential to this, because it sends us into these places and we have experiences of helping each other get back. That's the gift that we've been given. And I believe through, especially exercise number 2, when you start to do the humming. Lyndsey, would you talk about that again? The humming and the lullaby, I think, are the closest we can get to when we're alone and we're practicing, to getting this experience over and over again, because it's, as Lyndsey will tell you, being received in a way in which we're not alone.
Yeah, and so a lot of what we talked about those webinars were that when we go into fight, flight, freeze, a lot happens in the nervous system. Facial affect goes pretty flat. And like I explained, all the blood and the energy is going to the limbs to get out or to fight whatever is needing to be fought. And one of those things that happen as well is the middle inner ear muscles start to shut down, so we can hear higher and lower pitches better. Unfortunately, though, the middle range is where we have human voice, where we can connect to others. And so using the sound, and especially one's own voice, can really activate, tell the nervous system it's safe, can open up those mid-range frequencies to then let the nervous system settle. And what you've been saying, Craig, about how it is it's one of the main ways we can access a sense of not being alone, because there is this looping of sounding, but then also being able to hear the sound that we're creating to give the nervous system a sense of other, which is really what we need to be able to survive. We are tribal people, we're clan people. We're meant to be living in groups and being connected to each other's nervous systems.
It's just how we come into the world, which really connects to webinar number 2 and number 3. It's so beautifully put, Lyndsey, the way you're saying this, because this starts before birth, and then especially at birth. There is this moment where hopefully our value is not connected to being fixed or solved as a problem, being figured out, needing to get better. All the things that we've told ourselves about our worthiness really can lead to depression. And maybe that happens 30 seconds after birth, but hopefully there's that window at birth where we're just simply worthy of love, just the way we are, however we are in that moment. And we feel that not only as an idea, but physically in the body, we feel that. We have the love chemical, oxytocin, running through our body at that point. We feel wonderful. The people in the room fall in love with this being in that moment. They have oxytocin running through their body. And, we get away from that worthiness so often, and that can lead to depression, to thinking that our value is connected to what we do in the world, to how much we get better, to being a problem that we are solving, to being fixed. And that, in exercise number 3, we talked about the anxiety that we feel as people taking care of these little ones. When these babies are crying or these toddlers are crying, it evokes anxiety in our nervous system. And this is not by accident. Throughout history, there have been so many times that a crying baby is actually dangerous. Our bodies have been informed of that. We feel that anxiety. And then ironically, what we do to help our own anxiety and the baby's anxiety is often lullaby, right? It's soft, it's gentle, it's slow, it's powerful. And so incorporating these exercises into your practice should help with your worthiness, maybe hopefully help with your anxiety, And that led right into today's webinar.
Yeah, and Craig, can I add something too that,
Please.
and I think we've mentioned this, but you know, the body first goes into that fight flight place, but eventually goes into freeze. And so the idea with depression and unworthiness is it's possible that the pattern has been that the body was in such a state of anxiety for so long that eventually it goes into shutdown. Almost like I'm not going to feel anymore. And that works to not feel, especially if things are really hard around us. But if we stay in that dissociated kind of freeze state for too long, then we're going to be depressed, because you're not only cutting out the stress and the difficulty, you're cutting out the ability to be able to experience the other emotions: joy, excitement, love, peace, beauty. And so that depression becomes this very small window of experience, that's lived experience.
Yeah. Yeah, beautifully put. Chronic shutdown leads to depression.
Yeah.
And today it was like, well, how do we work with grief in a simple way? You know, what's a way in which we could share that in an hour webinar? Because grief is something that takes time, and grief is something that needs to be held by more than the individual. But this was the closest we could come to giving you a way to practice accompanying both the grief, loss, sadness, devastation with the joy, the appreciation, the gratitude for whatever grief we're experiencing. And so today we did the loving and kindness practice, and that is a way in which you can begin to do that. And I want to stress, you can begin to do that, but it does take other people.
Yeah.
You really can't do this on your own. And sometimes it can be complex. How can you create a support system that's safe and trustworthy, right? That's not always easily accessed for everyone due to our situations. And
Yeah. And this is where hopefully mental health can really be a piece that kind of fills that missing part in our culture and our family systems and our society, until as a whole we can sort of start to bring that back in. But I think that's important for us to mention too, that, you know, if you're really struggling during this time, we just empower anybody to reach out to mental health community therapy. Tons of really great therapists in Santa Fe. Psychology Today is a great resource for researching and finding somebody who would really fit. And you know, we're also open for clients too. So if you feel a connection.
so please write us with any questions, clarification questions, comments, feedback. We really want this to be something you can take with you. And of course, the webinars are going to be available in all those places. So you can go back and watch the ones you missed, or if you need to brush up on what we're talking about. Because what we're talking about is very simple in concept and very difficult in practice, because we're right in the middle of that chaotic human evolution of being gifted something that's pretty overwhelming and a lot of responsibility, this tool called consciousness. So while it's very simple in concept, it's so difficult in practice that of course you're going to want to revisit these things. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
Angie says, thank you and much appreciated.
Thank you, Angie.
And let us know if you'd like to be unmuted, if it would be easier to speak.
Yeah. So this is our sources and resource page. You know, I just want to take a moment while people may be typing to thank Natalie Rivera for organizing this. thank you for all the organizations that sponsored this. It was a real honor for both of us to be able to share this information in this way. Definitely want to thank our teachers like we've done in the past webinars, but especially Marv Belzer. And who wrote A Path with Heart?
Oh, Jack Cornfield.
Jack Cornfield. Thank you, Jack. Great book. That's where I first discovered the loving kindness practice, was with Marv, and from that book by Jack Cornfield. And yeah, selfishly, I have really immensely enjoyed the CD that Lyndsey's been working on. And it's not out there yet, but she will be releasing it sometime, I think, this year. Please check it out. You will not be disappointed, either on Facebook or SoundCloud. It's very evocative and meaningful. And I really appreciate you, Lyndsey.
Craig is my #1 fan. He's also will be on the CD playing the flute.
Oh, I forgot about that.
The Peruvian flute.
Well, thank you all so much. This was our final webinar, so we will not be back next Friday. You can definitely get a hold of us through that Facebook page, I believe, and ask any questions, any clarification questions. We want this to be a practice to carry forward. We're here for you.
And we can put our email addresses too again, just in case people don't have Facebook.
Yeah, so you want to put them in the chat bar, I guess.
Sure.
It's going to be lyndsey.mcadams@gmail.com and craigthomasmcadams@gmail.com.
Very good.
Wonderful.
Oh.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lyndsey. And Natalie, it's been a pleasure.
You too, Natalie.
Miss Lady says thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Stay safe. Stay well.